You know, it's pretty interesting how one experience can shape and mold your entire life, and that one experience can cause you to m- move in a way or grow and develop in a way where you thought you were growing and developing appropriately, but the whole time there's this misalignment that's taking place or that is happening, and you you don't even realize that you've been growing improperly the whole time. Like, say you break a bone or whatever, and the bone doesn't heal in its appropriate position. Like, your bone doesn't heal in the way it was designed to be. So now you grow up, you thinking your arm is fine when in actuality you don't even have the full mobility of your arm, and you don't even know that because this is how your arm has always been. It's always been broken, but it kind of just grew up with you. So you think this abnormality is your normal, and now you have made the abnormal normal. And I say all that to say I'll be 29 this year, and for mm, yeah, about half of my life, I have been growing and developing improperly. Uh, my life has been shaped and molded by grief and like trauma. Back in 2010, yeah, 2010, 13 going into 14 years old, my grandma died, and that was the my first experience with. I just realized I haven't been looking at the camera, but whatever. That was my first experience with like grief and something so traumatic happening. And it's like, okay, so you take being a teenager and like this wave of emotions and hormones and yada yada that teenagers traditionally deal with. Then you compound that with this traumatic loss. You compound that with the grief that comes with this loss. And then you compact that with, no, is it compact or compound? Then you compound that with um like nobody really communicating with you these emotions, what you're feeling, what you're going through, what what this is you're dealing with, how this is trauma, how to grieve properly. Then you compound that with dealing with coming into a new school, meeting all these new people. Then you compound that with your parents starting a church. And then it's like all these things that are compounded on top of this, on top of this, on top of this, until it's like the root issue is buried so far deep, you don't even realize that this is the true root of said issue. So like now I think I have social anxiety because of going to a new school. Whole time I have social anxiety. I don't even have social anxiety. It's like a generalized anxiety because that transition period between 13 and 14, that summer my grandma died, I didn't know, I didn't learn, or I wasn't taught how to deal with these feelings or whatever. And it's like the anxiety is stemming from, okay, this is what you're feeling, but all of this other stuff is going on. So you just suppress it. And now it's like it's just been compounding over the last 15 years, and thinking you're dealing with it or dealing with one thing, and then you think you're dealing with it and you're not. necessarily dealing with it. So now it's like this whole, now you have a variety of issues that you have to deal with, and you even forget about the source. And then it's like, okay, I have to grieve that. And then like, and then I'm grieving people in relationships that are like still alive. And I'm like, okay, I'm grieving the loss of my grandma. I'm grieving the fact that my relationship with my biological dad isn't what it should be or where I would like it to be. And then compound that with grieving, like I have other siblings from my biological dad, and one of my brothers died. Then I'm like, I'm grieving that relationship because deep down inside I've always wanted a relationship with all of my siblings, and that never happened. And now that one can never happen. So now I'm like, and then I'm like, essentially my life has been rooted in fear. And then, like, well, I mentioned my parents started a church. It's and now like most of their attention and focus is on the church. And now I'm grieving the relationship with my parents. And then I'm like, okay, why does our relationship have to die for the church to thrive? And it's just so much grief and trauma and emotional neglect, and it's just so much. And I haven't been like professionally diagnosed with like and then general anxiety disorder or anything like that, but I don't remember a point in my life where I haven't been anxious. Like I'm anxious essentially every day. The levels of anxiousness, it varies. Uh, like I'm always anxious, and then it's like over the last few years, I've been like trying to pursue God, trying to pursue holiness, and like I haven't really like pursued being like made whole. I haven't pursued, getting over this grief, dealing with this trauma, dealing with this emotional neglect, dealing with all these things that have been compounding over 15 years. And now it's like what was like a seedling or a small flower has now turned into a giant redwood tree. And it can't just be ripped up. It has to be cut down. The stump has to be grounded down. It has to be uprooted. And it's just so much. And I can't even necessarily, well, I won't say can't, but it's extremely hard to get to the root of a thing when the tree is so big. And like it's manifested so many different ways. Like as I even reflect now, it's like I don't know how to, I'm not gonna say I don't know how. Like I know like the steps or whatever to pursue relationships, but it's just I can't, I have such a hard time going beyond my mind and my thoughts, or operating outside of my mind, to where I'm paralyzed, to where I don't pursue relationships. I don't communicate with people like I should. I don't foster relationships or nurture relationships like I should. Like Like for instance, this past weekend, I went to a celebration, a cookout for, or in celebration of my brother that died, and where like these are my extended family members, and instead of socializing and mingling with people, here I am sitting on the other side of the park because I set in my mind to engage with people to where, but I'm just so paralyzed with anxiety and fear to where it's like, okay, I'll walk up and say hi to everybody, and now for the next hour and a half, I'm sitting on the other side of the park. And then it's like, and I know I can't expect the world or people to accommodate all of this that I'm dealing with, but it's like I've been growing in age and information and knowledge and such. Like I'll never claim to be the smartest person, but I think my ability to think through things has been developed because of all of these compounded things, but it's also been to my detriment to where I can't think past. I get caught up in thinking, and I can't operate outside of my mind and in the moment. And, and like I'm I'm certain I have been I'm emotionally underdeveloped. Like I haven't grown. I think it's safe to say I haven't grown past that 13 going into 14-year old. I like it. People may that know me may or may not know this, but like I'm extremely sensitive, and I etern not eternal. I internalize everything. I process everything. I have such a hard time with letting things like flow off of me, and then is my responses are written off as like being smart or sarcastic when it's just like maybe it's maybe this is just how my brain has been warped to process and deal with things. And and like I know and I believe that God is a healer, God is a deliverer, God is a he can transform. At the same time, I know like there are practical things that need to be done to embrace that, because like I can know all of these things, but my mind won't allow me to accept them, apply them to myself personally. And I know this is probably going. This is it. I don't have any resolve right now. Long story short, um, I know prayer works, and I know that Jesus is enough. At the same time, I know that there are practical things that need to be done because I don't want to live the rest of my life like this. I don't want to be like this forever. I want to be better. I don't want to just be holy, cuz how holy could I really be if I'm never made whole? But I want to reach this level of wholeness where I know things are going to continue to happen in life. Different traumatic events and things are going to happen. until the day I die, whatever. But I want to reach this level of like dealing with new things is one thing. I don't want to keep dealing with these things that are 10, 5, 10, 15 years old. Yeah, that's all I got.